some stuff, basic stuff. And you might notice I'm in a different place right now. I'm working and I'm also streaming, so I guess I'm multitasking. It's been pretty dead today for the last like couple hours, and I'm gonna be in here for a while yet, so I figured might as well do something. Hi, Satan. Satan's here with me. I don't usually bring her into the shop because there's a lot of chemicals and stuff here because it's a screen printing shop. Hi. And if I bring her in every time I come into the shop, then those chemicals like really irritate her skin, like especially her little like arm, her elbow pits, I guess is what I don't know what they're called. But hey Satan, back the fuck up, go lay down. But once in a while, it's not such a big deal. Go lay down. I'm serious. Welcome. Hi. How's it going? Oh, I still have a zit sticker on my face. Let's take that off. It's gonna be distracting to me. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna talk about colonialism and what it means. I've been talking a lot about that sort of thing, just like as a side topic within other bigger topics. And I realized last night that maybe I've been talking about that as though y'all know what I know about colonialism, and it occurred to me that folks just don't. I'm sure that you are like aware of it as a concept, but maybe not coming from the same anarchist background as I do, you don't know as much as a lot of folks that are more informed on like anarchist issues, because like I know that colonialism is bad, and even that, like, I think a lot of people in American society don't really see it that way, because like what we were taught in schools is that colonists were good and that they built this country so that it was good. Like, you know, we wouldn't have all of the wonderful things that we have today in America if it wasn't for those brave settlers back in the day. And obviously that's whitewashed history. I mean, I say obviously, like, because that's obvious to me in my background and what I understand about things. But it's not, I guess it's not so obvious for folks. But yeah, so let's see. I'm gonna let folks find the stream here, see who's saying hi. And this fucking goddamn, I'm using the shop tripod that people use, and it's like it keeps sliding to this side, and it's driving me fucking crazy. So I'm gonna see if there's a way to fix that. Oh, there it is. Got it. Okay. There we go. There we go. Alright. What's up? Kill Nothing But Time. How's it going? And Chris Bandit. Low Spring Acres. Hi, howdy. Kill Nothing But Time says, I'm a young grasshopper anarchist. About 11 years in, I was hyper-focused on survival, struggling with trauma, and stuck in fight or flight. So now I feel better and have freedom to learn. That's cool. Yeah, it's you know, I've been talking about it on my streams a bit lately, how difficult it really is to get information and reliable information. And this is kind of a newer thing too, because, you know, the internet only started existing in the early 90s, and we're just kind of figuring out how much power we can wield with it and how to communicate to each other more effectively through the internet. And I was talking about it the other day on my stream. Up until this point, or really recently, we had to rely on the powers that be, like our governments, or, you know, whoever controls the narrative, like the government and oligarchs, to kind of tell us what happened in historical senses. And now, as a species, humans are kind of talking amongst each other more and putting together a more complete picture of history. Um, so it's a really great time to start learning because the resources are more available to you. And yeah, like I want to get kind of a read on the room here. We got 22 people in chat now, and as people come in, I'll ask more questions. But okay, so what do you guys think that colonialism is? I just like without Google searching it or whatever, just like off the top of your head, how do you understand colonialism and how it relates to our society? Like, what is it? Terry, I know you're familiar with the shitty parts of colonialism because, oh well, yeah. Terry says, look at what European descent people did to Native Americans and did not give them same rights in 1776, and you understand colonialism. Yep, that's right, bud. Fucking A. Yeah, and if you are not a white person, then you definitely have a much different view of what colonialism means because you've seen how fucked it is and what it does to displace people. Moses Law says the fucking screen went black and your question was unheard. Did anybody else get my stream cut out for them or just Moses Law? What hurts me the most is what happened to nature, especially the trees, when the settlers came here and convinced the natives to adopt the European way instead of the red road. Well, that's the thing, Kill Nothing But Time. The Europeans didn't convince the natives of anything. They came here with their disease and decimated. If you look up the what decimated means, it means like pretty much like taking out about a tenth. And I don't know, it was more actually. I think because of the diseases that the European settlers carried. I think almost half of the Native American population of the U.S. was wiped out before full colonization went in full swing. They didn't convince the natives fought tooth and nail against the settlers, and that's a whole thing too. Colonialism exists outside of Europe. Yep, that's right. But what is it? Moses Law says I got some weird crap happening. Maybe hit refresh there. Nobody else is having stream problems. That's good. JJ says not American. I can tell. Oh, really? How can you tell that? Explain. Chef Bezos says all those Indian tribes also colonized each other. No, that's incorrect. That's a really dumb thing to say, actually, for a number of reasons. Let's see. Corey says what killed the natives was killing all the buffalo. Actually, that was a coordinated attack on Native Americans. Like, you can still look up images of posters from back in the day that said every dead buffalo is a dead Indian or something like that, or like 10 dead Indians or something. The burgeoning American government put out a coordinated, like, they wanted to extinct the buffalo because native people relied on the buffalo. Yeah. That was not what killed the natives, though. That's a very simplistic thing to say, but almost. Nomad Terry says I'm mixed Choctaw Indian, roll number 316 of 1896 Dallas Commission, and white race, and not accepted by either people. Yeah, that's a fucking shame, man. And that is actually a symptom of colonialism as well. I've been cooking up in my brain some ideas about like what whiteness actually is and how it relates to colonization. and I'm trying to facilitate a conversation between a very intelligent friend of mine who has a much better grasp of like radical history than I do. The dude's like an encyclopedia, honestly. Like I have the basic concepts, but like this dude remembers names and dates and like specific details about stuff that I don't have the brain to do. Like maybe if I went to college or something and really studied a lot, I could do that, which he did. I did not. Um, let's see. Roman says language and spiritual traditions lost, land and food systems destroyed, and relationship to nature and community destroyed. Yeah, that's a pretty good summary of what colonialism is. Um, Terry says, "Thank you, Corn." Quote true history. Yeah, for real. Hold on, I'm taking a moment to clean out the chat here. I don't know how to pronounce your name. It looks like it's in Ukrainian, but they say the Netherlands and Belgium are the biggest colonists. I could see that, yeah. And I've also been really interested to learn like the way that I understand it, like the whole attitude of colonialism really comes from Christianity, like ancient Christian practices all the way till today. And, you know, I'm sure other religions too, but nothing really affected that kind of like European want to go and conquer other peoples than Christianity. Um, and that's not to say that anybody that's a Christian is a bad person or a colonist or a colonizer. Probably you are, but um, you know it. There's a lot. This is a big topic, and I'm gonna light a smoke outside, and I'm going to look up a few terms on my secondary phone here, and we can kind of dive into it. This stream is not like me trying to tell you all that I know all the things and you know nothing or anything like that. We're learning together. I'm just a fucking I'm just a punk. I didn't go to college, like I said, and I don't have like I don't have the kind of credentials that a historian would have. I'm just somebody that's interested in this kind of thing, and I thought it would be kind of a cool experience for us to go through the learning process together. So I'm not going to pretend like I know more than I do, or that or that I'm an authority on the subject. Yeah, we're just going to learn. And also, yeah, I want to read your guys' input too. That's why I asked, like, what do you guys think colonialism is? How has it affected your life? Because that is really interesting to consider. Because, like, I only have an American experience. This is like post, you know, the colonizing of this country. And a lot of you live in colonized countries as well. Probably most of you. And colonization still affects many countries today. Like it all relates back to the war machine that is ravaging this planet and trying to continue to snuff out non-Western societies. Moses Law says the Dutch people taught me, indoctrinated in a school, that they went to help other countries and that slaves were their assistants, especially in America, South America, and Indonesia. Got kicked out. Peter CT says, could use a mod in here today. Yeah, Captain messaged me and said that 4 p.m. isn't really a great time for him anymore, or maybe, yeah, it's been busy. So I'll check in with the mods and see if we can get a better time for everybody to come in, so that way I don't have to mod the stream while I'm doing a talk. Nomad Terry says, watch True movie Killing Fields, what happened to Osage Indians over oil rights. Yeah, that's something that like I know happened, but I really don't know a whole lot about it. I know that we're still we're still piecing together the true history of things that unfolded here in this country and other countries. I mean, they're still digging up mass graves from Catholic schools in Canada, and I'm sure there's tons of mass graves around the U.S. too that are being covered up. Element Only says, what about Islam's history of imperialism starting with the 700 in Pakistan and Spain? I don't know about that. I'm not saying that only white people colonize. I'm saying that this is a systemic issue that is still a big part. Like that, I'm not gonna. there's a whole thing here. I'm trying to stay focused, but I'm not denying that other people have done horrible things to people. That's not the conversation here. Moses Law says, yes, that religion you grew up with was really dominating in the Netherlands, and they always said to me that black people in America had to get over their past, and I always thought that was easy for them. Yeah, that's a pretty fucking stupid thing to say. Like, oh, just get over it. Like, no. Element Only 8 says, well, the British Empire is arguably the largest empire, but they gave most of their land back, whereas Islam never gave back. What the fuck are you talking about? When did the British... No, they didn't give their land back. They gave other people's land back because they had to. They're still trying to... They still occupy tons of parts of the world and appropriated tons of things from other cultures. Like, the British Historical Museum, most of those artifacts are stolen from other cultures. And, you know, Europeans colonized each other first. That's why white exists, because of colonization of other cultures. They assimilated all of these other cultures into this blanket term, whiteness, which isn't a race. It's just a way to continue. You know, once you're colonized, then you can be assimilated into if you're of a certain race nowadays, because they got to keep people divided. Oh, hey, Captain Grimm's doing some stuff here. What's up, dude? Yeah, sorry, I didn't know 4 p.m. wasn't a good time for you. They gave it back to be nice. No, they didn't give it back to be nice. That's fake news. Let's look up what the internet says that colonization is. I did this yesterday, and the answer that I got through Google search was really not very satisfying, but let's take a look and see. Colonialism definition. The policy or practice of acquiring full or partial political control over another country, occupying it with settlers, and exploiting it economically. Let's see if there's a history of colonialism. There's many in lots of countries. The top searches when I type in history of colonialism is history of colonialism in Africa, in Vietnam, in South Africa, in the Philippines, in Ghana, in India, in Nigeria. Yeah, there's a lot, and you can definitely dive into specific colonialism depending on what region you're looking into. Right now, there's a big topic surrounding colonialism in Africa, and there's a lot going on with the people of Africa trying to reclaim their country from colonialism and the ravages of it, and trying to reclaim their resources, because settlers and colonizers from Western countries have been exploiting their resources for a really long time. I don't want to look at the AI overview. Fuck yeah. Fuck that. The phenomenon of colonization is one that stretches around the globe and across time. Ancient and medieval colonialism was practiced by the Phoenicians, Greeks, Romans, Han Chinese and Arabs. Who first started colonialism? Colonialism in the modern sense began with the Age of Discovery, led by the Portuguese, who became increasingly expansionist following the conquest of Ceuta in 1415, aiming to control navigation through the Strait of Gibraltar, spreading Christianity, amass wealth, and plunder. I think that's, isn't that where Christopher Columbus came in? 1492, something like that. I don't know. Let's see. There's 4 types of colonialism: settler, exploitation, surrogate, and internal. Interesting. All right. There's a Wikipedia. Age of Discovery. To spread Christianity. That's kind of what I figured. Around 1450, based on North African fishing boats, a lighter ship was developed. The caravel, which could sail further and faster, was highly maneuverable and could sail into the wind. Enabled by new nautical technology with added incentive to find an alternative Silk Road after the fall of Constantinople in 1453 to the Ottoman Empire, effectively closed profitable trade routes with Asia. Early European exploration of Africa was followed by the Spanish exploration of the Americas, further exploration along the coasts of Africa, and explorations of West India, conquest of the Canary Islands by the Crown of Castile from 1402 to 1496 has been described as the first instance of European settler colonialism in Africa. In 1462, the previously uninhabited Cape Verde archipelago became the first European settlement in the tropics, and thereafter a site of Jewish exile during the height of Spanish Inquisition. So already off the bat, colonialism is about resources and exiling people that they didn't want, like Jewish people. Because of the economics of plantations, especially sugar, European colonial expansion and slavery would remain linked into the 1800s. The use of exile to penal colonies would also continue. The European discovery of the New World, as named by Americo Vespucci in 1503, opened another colonial chapter, beginning with the colonization of the Caribbean in 1493, later to become Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And I learned recently that during the slave trade that brought African folks to the U.S., a lot of slaves that would not submit or were deemed unfit for slavery in the Americas was they ended up being sent to the Caribbean and Haiti, which is interesting. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what folks are saying in chat here. If you guys are hearing all of this and saying like, oh, but what about Islam? Like, you can go fuck yourselves. What you're trying to say is whataboutism. And instead of acknowledging what Christian colonizers have done, you want to do this whatabout shit and be like, oh, well, other people are bad too. That doesn't really make the point that you think it's making at all. First of all, it makes you sound like a racist. Second of all, it's not okay, regardless of who's doing it. So yeah, if your response is like, oh, but what about, like, that doesn't make it okay at all. You're just trying to avoid actually talking about the issue at hand by making it about something else. A boy in a shopping cart says, I tell people who say to get over it that I'll get over it when the behavior changes. That's right. And kind of on a different topic, just before I started my stream, I was watching this video by a black creator who was talking about it's on topic kind of what you said, but this dude was like, I want to bring my non-binary friends to the hood for like hanging out with my hood friends. and you know they're hanging out, drinking a little bit, and one of his non-binary white friends turned to this fucking hood thug, this hood gentleman fellow, and said like, "I'm sorry for what my people did to your people," and his his homie was like, genuinely had no idea what this person was talking about, and was like, wait, what the fuck did your people do to my people?" Like thinking like, you know, there was some type of beef or something, and got all like, you know, like, what are you talking about? And this person's like, oh, you know, like with slavery and stuff. And he's like, oh, okay, you know, like why are you saying weird shit? Like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you just bringing up random old shit like that? And this, you know, he's like, let me tell you something, I'm gonna be so real with you, like, I don't care about what your people did back then, what are you doing now? That's what he said. And I thought like that is just so like on brand for, like, you know, just a fucking, you know, like, just because you're in the hood doesn't mean you're fucking stupid, right? And like, what a fucking succinct thing to say. Like, what are you doing now? That's food for thought. I don't know. I thought that was a cool thing. And then I had to start up this stream directly after that, but that gave me a good laugh. What was it? Maybe I could add it. Let's see. That was a good one. The Moor is a collective term for North African and Arabian Muslims colonized the Iberian Peninsula, present-day Spain and Portugal in the 8th century. They established a significant Islamic presence known as the Al-Andalus, which lasted for centuries, influencing the region's culture, architecture, and scientific advancements. Curious your thoughts on that, Corn. I have not heard of that because I was educated, that's a loose term here, by the American indoctrination system. So of course they wouldn't have that in school. So I don't know. I have heard that the Moors are a thing. I don't know what the Moors are, or what, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any deep thoughts on that. I'd have to look up the history of that. Oh, you guys like my shirt? Thank you. It's a good shirt. I only buy secondhand. You gotta get clothes at the thrift store. That's where you get all the coolest clothes. Element Only is saying some racist fucking shit. Like, this is just not true. I don't know. And maybe you don't mean it this way, but like, wherever you're getting this information from about British colonization and decolonization being a structured and negotiated process is fucking, that's fake history. I'm sorry to say it. So yeah, you should probably spend some time like reading up on what you're saying, because it's never that simple. Captain Grim says, shout, now you're out. Who got, okay. I want to see it. That's funny. All right. Hey, what's up, Sam? How's it going? Old account says, what's on your agenda today? Are you still traveling? I'm at work today, and I'm streaming now. And yeah, I'll be here for a while, so I figured I'd knock out another live stream. And we're about halfway, and that's amazing, because I feel like we've barely even touched on anything. Like, this is just like, I feel like we've kind of just been getting to the point. Maybe I'll have to do another couple of streams talking about this. That's probably what's going to have to happen. But anyway, we're about halfway through already, which is crazy to think about. So I'm going to take a moment to say, if you want to get down with the Kickdown, I have links in the description. There's PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. I'm broke as fuck. I'm doing work here, in exchange for a place to stay, which is huge. Um, if you know anything about LA, you know that rent here is very expensive, and in fact, everything here is expensive. So that's really helping me a lot right now. But I am not able to work labor jobs like I typically would do in what's the word I was fucking looking for? It's just like um, just slipped right out of my brain. In addition to doing live streams and stuff, I can't work the way I usually do physically because of my prosthetic leg, and so it really does help if if folks feel like dropping a donation. And I know Theo Overman kicked down earlier today, and I want to say thank you so much, Theo. I really appreciate that. It's very sweet of you. Um, yeah, Kill Nothing But Time is saying that the Moors did own slaves. Yeah, a lot like all all people throughout history have owned slaves or been slaves at some point or another. That's not the conversation. That's kind of beside the point. Sam says I accidentally learned the entire history of Philadelphia today. That is interesting. What are some of your main takeaways there, Sam? Is did you get on the rabbit hole because of the talk about the industrial protests and stuff? I wonder because like that was a big topic in the May Day um, stream. I'm just curious. It's not okay that anyone has done it. Yes, right. But in this particular context, like at least from my perspective and experience as an American, um, what I see is the systemic racism inherent in the American, uh, I guess, society and the way that this country was built to to unfairly disadvantage, and it's oh, we've got a hey, Peter, thank you very much, Peter. Um, Disproportionately affects black people whose ancestors were brought here to the U.S. Against their will to be slaves. And the North American slave trade is unlike anything else the world has ever seen. Um, so that's kind of where I'm coming from. Like, yes, slavery is bad, and yes, other people have done it in the past. But that I don't see, like, I'm not saying you said this, but a lot of people with their whataboutism will be like, oh well, if slavery was so bad, then why did Islamic people do it? You know, and it's like that's not making the point you think it's making. Again, not you. I'm not saying you said that. Tom Street says we just got to come up with a more blatantly successful way of solving major problems. Simply put, well, I think that an important thing in today's era, especially with the way that we can communicate around the world, is that in order to come up with solutions to fix humanity's problems, we do need to open the floor to people that Western society has in the past deemed as like less developed, or like somebody earlier in the stream was saying that they learned in school that brown people were helpers, and like in a lot of American history you'll hear like, I don't know why they would even put this in the history books, but like there'll be like some slavery apologism where they'll try and talk about like, not all slaves lived in total terrible situations, and sometimes the slaves were treated like members of the family and they enjoyed the work that they did. And it's like, that's so fucked up. That's like, regardless if they felt like they were cared for, they were here as slaves. And again, slavery is bad, okay? Yeah, it, it's an interesting time culturally to see now everybody is able to get their hands on educational resources, and now countries where like they've been silenced through history, and different cultures that used to not have a voice, at least in the Western world, are able to have a voice and be like, actually, our country remembers all of this history in a completely different way, and here's what really happened. So it's yeah, there's a lot of new stuff coming out that people in certain parts of the world have known since forever that folks in the Western world genuinely had no idea about. Element only is you got all your information from a Netflix documentary. Are you like that's embarrassing for you, dude? It's literally in a recent that's insane to me, dude. What? Sam says awkward white people are kind of adorable. They kind of are. We kind of I'm trying like yeah. Yeah. Okay, element only. You need to fucking stop talking like you know what the fuck you're saying, or I'm just gonna put you in timeout because like you're literally quoting shit that you saw on a Netflix documentary and acting like you're an expert on things, and that's just really fucking silly. The Moors were Muslim inhabitants of North Africa, mainly Berbers and Arabs who ruled parts of Spain and Portugal from 711 to 1492. They brought advanced science architecture to Europe. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, there was like back in that time, Arabs really had they had a lot of interesting technology and architecture and stuff that they knew that was in the history books kind of glossed over and erased. Like, I don't know if that relates to like why in the Western world we use Arabic numerology or numerics rather, not numerology. Octogrammer says, "What is the main topics here? Is it political or something else?" It's whatever the fuck I want to talk about, man. This is my channel. I'm Cornelius Van Gogh. Welcome, welcome, new folks. If you're new, say hi, wave. And if you're a returning reprobate, leave your favorite emoji. Star Code Real Panda says, "Can you give me mod?" No, I'm not gonna give you mod. I don't know who the fuck you are, but thank you very much for the kickdown. I appreciate it. Come join the Discord server, and then maybe we can talk. Kill Nothing But Time says, "I feel like it's holding us back. Does that make sense? It's hard to express these feelings without being viewed as something that I know I'm not, so it's hard." Yeah, it is really a touchy topic. And because there is so much misinformation and disinformation out there, it's like, where do you fucking start? And that's why I think, it is really important to have these conversations. And, like, like, I know that what you're trying to talk about is a lot more nuanced than just, like, the whataboutism type of stuff, like other folks have been bringing up in the chat. There is nuance to it. There's a lot of nuance to it. It's a really tricky situation, and I think that a lot of that is kind of by design too. Like what is it, poisoning the well of the ruling class. The ruling class does that on purpose to make it so that we don't want to talk about it because you make a wrong move, you step in shit, and then everybody thinks you're a fucking racist or something, or whatever. Like, there's a lot of missteps that you can make in having a conversation like this. Let's see, I'm just catching up in chat here. Sam says, my main takeaways were Americans be boldly doing whatever they want. Kind of. That's why our education system is so poor and indoctrination is at such a high rate. Because, like, Americans at our core, I mean, like, the whole reason that folks that weren't brought here against their will or weren't already here, like, the whole reason they came here was for freedom. Freedom to do whatever the fuck they want. They want to worship however they want. They want to, you know, build their homestead and mind their own damn business and have their business be minded by nobody else. It's, you know, that's the thing. That's the common thread tying all of us together, I guess, with that. Yeah, and it's so if Americans actually understood what the fuck was really happening, we would have such a righteous rage. And I think we're getting to the point where people are starting to realize, like, oh yeah, our government fucking lied to us for hundreds of years about stuff, and we actually have been, you know, complicit in really shitty things. And you know, it's hard to think about when you're broke and you're struggling day to day, especially nowadays, to think about it that way without getting defensive and being like, oh man, I didn't colonize anybody. I'm poor. I'm just trying to like feed my kids and shit. Like, yeah, that is true, but also like you have to acknowledge the systems of oppression that put us here and put other people in the positions that they're in. A boy in his shopping cart says, my mom tried to make me go to a boarding school in North Dakota. I ran away for 3 days as a warning not to try that shit again. Damn. Are you, was that like what kind of boarding school? Are you Native? Was it that type of boarding school? Because if that's the case, good for you, man. Like, that's, hell no. Don't do that. Don't let your mom send you to fucking boarding school. Sam says Johnny Appleseed was a drug pusher, land baron who also happened to enjoy reading the Bible. Really? I'm looking this up. That would blow my mind. Like, as much as I know how fucking fake the history is that I've been taught in school, to learn as an American, and I say that partly like tongue in cheek, like as an American, like I don't give a fuck about the USA, like I'm an anarchist. But as a person that grew up in the U.S. and like, you know, have those stories of like American idealism like drilled into my head. If I look online here and I find out that you're not bullshitting me, I'm gonna be floored. I'm gonna type in the true history of Johnny Appleseed. I mean, I don't not believe you. I'm just like, that would be crazy. Are you? I mean, I believe that could be the story behind Johnny. This is all looking like fake news here. This is like from an Apple company. Like, okay. That was Johnny Poppy Seed. Peter says, never doubt Sam. Hey, I don't know. Sam says, uh-oh, I was exact same feeling when I got interested last week. A boy in a shopping cart says, I'm Oneida. Did I say it right? Yeah, it was a boarding school for Native kids. Holy fuck, dude. When was that? That's crazy. The real Heinz History Center. I'm not going to believe jack shit from the Heinz History Center. Okay, not that Heinz. Alright, let's see. While there are many conflicting versions of the legendary story, the real Johnny Appleseed was a man named John Chapman who frequented Western PA. This is all looking like pretty much like what I've learned growing up as a kid. Yeah, I don't know. Smithsonian. The real Johnny Appleseed brought apples and booze to the American frontier. Oh, his apples were cider apples. Okay. His story has been imbued with the saturating tint of a fairy tale. His contemporary notion is flawed, tainted by our modern perception of the apple as a sweet edible fruit. The apples that Chapman brought to the frontier were completely distinct from the apples available at any modern grocery store or farmer's market, and they weren't primarily used for eating. They were used to make America's beverage of choice at the time, hard apple cider. Up until Prohibition, an apple grown in America was far less likely to be eaten than to wind up in a barrel of cider. In rural areas, cider took the place of not only wine and beer, but of coffee, tea, juice, and even water. It was into this apple-laden world that John Chapman was born. You know, I make cider. I used to make cider. I would make it again. That's interesting. During Prohibition, too. Western edge of Pennsylvania, near the country's rapidly expanding western frontier. At the turn of the 19th century, speculators and private companies were buying up huge swaths of land in the Northwest Territory, waiting for settlers to arrive. Starting in 1792, the Ohio Company of Associates made a deal with potential settlers. Anyone willing to form permanent homestead on the wilderness beyond Ohio's first permanent settlement would be granted 100 acres of land. To prove their homesteads to be permanent, settlers were required to plant 50 apple trees and 20 peach trees in 3 years. Holy shit! So Johnny Appleseed, okay, in that context, the idea of a guy traveling around planting fuck tons of apple trees is like, that man single-handedly would have been, what is it? Expanding colonization and like expediting settler colonialism by quite a bit. Because if he's going around just planting apple trees fucking everywhere, then settlers can move in and say like, yeah, we planted these apples here like 5 years ago or whatever. Like, give us this land. That's crazy. Enter the savvy businessman. Chapman realized that if he could do the difficult work, I literally, yeah, this is what I saw this coming. Oh, but he was turning them for a profit too. To incoming frontiersmen. Wandering from Pennsylvania to Illinois, Chapman would advance just ahead of settlers, cultivating orchards that he would sell them when they arrived, and then head to more undeveloped land. See, I thought this was going to be like an aside from today's topic, but this is actually like totally in keeping with that fucking, you know, Western expansion kind of shit. And capitalism too. Like, this guy wasn't planting apples because he liked apples and he thought that people should eat them. Like, literally, that's what I was taught in school. Like, this man was a fucking cool ass wandering dude, and I'm a wanderer. Like, so I that's why like this one kind of cuts a little deep for me, because like as a little kid when I was all impressionable and stuff, you know, I heard the story of Johnny Appleseed and I was like, that's dope. That man was just like wandering around the countryside barefoot in old clothes, with his sack of apple seeds, planting food for the people. Like, no, that's not what he was doing at all. He was fucking... he was hustling, man. And he did a number. Like, his apples weren't used to feed people. They were used to make booze, which, like, I'm an alcoholic. I'm a recovered alcoholic. I know how fucked booze can be, how bad it is. That's crazy. That's insane. Chapman really did tote a bag full of apple seeds. But yeah, that's crazy. As a member of the Swedenborgian Church, whose belief system explicitly forbade grafting, which they believed caused plants to suffer, Chapman planted all of his orchards from seed, meaning his apples were, for the most part, unfit for eating. It wasn't that Chapman or the frontier settlers didn't have the knowledge necessary for grafting, but like New Englanders, they found that their effort was better spent planting apples for drinking, not for eating. Apple cider provided those on the frontier with a safe, stable source of drink, and in a time and place where water could be full of dangerous bacteria, cider could be imbibed without worry. Cider was a huge part of frontier life. Johnny Appleseed, the man, the myth, the American story, describes as being lived through an alcoholic haze. Transplanted New Englanders on the frontier drank a reported 10.52 ounces of hard cider per day. For comparison, the average American today drinks 20 ounces of water. Hard cider was as much a part of the dining table as meat or bread. That's wild. Hey, thanks, Sam, for turning me on to that. That was interesting to find out. I'm humbled and mind blown. That's crazy. That's wild. Appleholism. Oh yeah, and he was walking around on foot so he could go everywhere. Right. That's wild. And like, this man had no care for what the lasting effect of bringing this new species that was not native to the Americas to the land of the indigenous people who were already here. Like, he did not care. He didn't care about bringing food for people to eat. These apples were inedible. The only thing that they could be used for was to make booze and to make money off of settlers and expand the settlers' reach. That's wild. Hey, what's up, critter? We're talking about colonialism today. That's wild. We just learned some new facts about Johnny Appleseed that I had no idea. Shit. Yeah, okay. I guess, like, the topic of colonialism is such a big, huge topic. Like, I wanted to kind of focus on, like, you know, stuff at the forefront of my mind today, which this has all been in keeping. But, like, I also wanted to, like, kind of bring it around to, like, a larger topic at hand. Because this is something that we're all kind of dealing with on a global scale as well, like the lasting effects of colonialism, of cultures to other cultures. Christian colonialism, like the Western Catholicism, or I guess Catholicism and the Westernization, it still affects us today. And there's lasting effects that we're just now starting to kind of learn to look at and unpack. And it is all interconnected. You know, colonialism is something that people would do to escape a government that they didn't feel safe in. So it's like, you know, colonizers would colonize new lands to escape the shitty conditions of their old imperialist system. And of course, what do? They create a new imperialist system. And then they go and colonize other countries. It's a cycle. It's a toxic cycle that is still killing the planet. And it gives rise to capitalist consumerist structures that create billionaires and oligarchs like we have here in the US now. I'm still trying to like figure out like the details of how all of these things relate to each other. And that's kind of why I want to have a conversation with my friend Neil about colonialism and how it relates to whiteness in general, and kind of global effects, I guess. And this man is a much more learned guy than I am, but I am doing some more looking into stuff, and getting a better idea, because like there's got to be some way that we can fix this, man. Like, obviously dismantling oppressive systems, yeah, but like, then what? Then create another oppressive system? Like, I don't know. Like, how do we fucking fix it? Sam says, and the weird ongoing colonialism of Australia being still owned by British land barons and not actually being a sovereign nation. Oh. See, I didn't know that either. Back when Canada was negotiating more freedom from Britain, Australia doubled down with being more British involved. I have to learn more on that. That's, yeah, I'm interested to see what you come up with there. That's crazy. I didn't know that Australia, I mean, I guess, like, I kind of knew, but I didn't, like, consciously know that. Like, that's, these are the questions of the day, man. These inquiring minds want to know. Let's get to the fucking bottom of it, man. Let's solve colonialism. Let's fucking let's do it. How to do Dat Nika Sunny D says how to do a colonialism. How chat, how do we do a colonialism? How do we not do a colonialism? That's a better question. How do we stop it? Moses Law says a small place by Jamaica Kincaid from Antigua and Franz Fanon wrote really well about colonizers and post-colonialism. I studied in college, still writing with my professor today as the U.S. has fallen. That is very interesting, yeah. I'm sure you have a lot of insight into very specific stuff that I'm not even aware of, so definitely, like, I know where you're coming from now, so like, I don't be afraid to speak up about it. I just want to make sure that I don't get any fucking chuds in chat is all. So I got my eyes real sharp on that, like, you know, certain ways that some people will try to steer conversations into, you know, when you're talking to people that want to gloss over the damages that westernization has done to non-white people specifically. A lot of people want to bring it up and be like, oh, well, what about this or that? Like, I know that's not where you're coming from, but yeah, don't be shy in speaking on your areas of expertise there. Also, where are you from? I'm curious. Sam says, yes, Australia is a country, but the colonial ties are still very active in running and guiding Australian politics. Gotcha. Moses Law says, yes, some of the Caribbean islands are still owned by Europeans today, too. And thanks for facilitating such an awesome live stream. Yeah, no problem. Live streams, plural. Yeah, and I want to keep doing it. This has actually, like, been really, really fun. And again, we're almost to the end of the stream, and I feel like we barely even scratched the surface. So I think we should probably just have this be a new series. If you can think of a good title for a series about colonialism and Western expansion, etc., like, and fake history, learning about the real history, I don't know. Like, if you have any ideas of what we could call the series, let me know. Leave a comment or something. And if you'd like to get down with the kickdown, I'm fucking trying to save up enough money to go to and back from Slabs. And if you're new on the stream, I am a slabber from Slab City. If you don't know what that is, look at my videos about Slab City. And I got my hands back on the library recently. Not like hands fully on, like, I mean, I'm working at and helping out with the library. And it went through a lot, and a lot of our infrastructure was destroyed because there was a lapse in curatorship, and so Yeah, I got to get back there Wednesday and stay there for a few days and help train in this fella and try and get the solar power system up and running. So if you want to help out with distributing supplies and resources and reading materials to the people of Slab City, feel free to drop $1 or a couple dollars. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to check on my phone and see if anybody did. I know Peter and Theo. Let's see. Let's take a look. And if anybody has anything to add before I go, hit me up before I go. Leave a message. Leave a message at the beep. Say something in chat here. I'm still here. If you have anything to add, or maybe something that you would like to see me talk about next time, feel free. Captain's slinging them links right there in the chat there, so it's easy if you want to drop $1. It's easier than ever. You don't even have to open the description. You can just click right there. Right there. See that? Bada boom. Get it. And Riley kicked down earlier today. Thank you so much, Riley. Riley is one of our regulars and is also part of the Discord server. If you want to get into a conversation with folks when I'm not live streaming, the Discord server is a great place to go. There's a lot of really cool folks with a lot of cool stuff to say, and there's all sorts of articles and pictures, and it's a great space. I have a lot of fun, and I learn a lot too. Critterbone says CDM Cheese Dog Mafia, brother. Hell yeah. I wish I had some cheese for Satan. Oh, I guess I'll give her a little treaty here. I'm gonna give her a little treat. I went and I got the expensive ones, just like I said. We got her second favorite. Got the beef tendons. Hey, Bubba. Come here, Bubba. Do you want this? Yeah? Alright. I'm gonna go out front and smoke and see if we got any more interesting comments here before I go. Oh yeah. It's a little Inception. This is where I'm at, Print Shop LA. This is my homie's print shop. I've been working here for a while. There's workshops, open studio, exhibitions, memberships. This is where I learned how to screen print. And it's a good spot. So if you're in LA and you want to learn how to screen print, then it's a good place. There's also Rezo and other types of printing as well. Let's see. Sam says, I think I need Discord Repro Fam support today. See you after the stream. Hell yeah. Critters Queen says, hey Corn, been a minute. Hey, what's up? I hope you're doing well. Nice to see ya. It's always nice when the homies stop in. Sam says, whoa, the double reverse made the Print Shop LA sign be correct way around when seen from the inside of the shop. Oh, interesting. I missed, yes. Moses Law says, I won 8 lawsuits to get a birth certificate decree because the Dutch and the world would not recognize my existence. My foster senior or sir senior. My foster senior did not and lost her son, as one needs a birth certificate to do any court proclamations. Damn, dude. Yeah, you should message me in the Discord, and I'm interested in picking your brain a little bit, actually. Because, yeah, based on your comments in the chats in the past, you've always seemed like somebody with a pretty good head on your shoulders, and now I'm learning a lot about you. That's fascinating. I mean, obviously that's fucked up, but yeah, I'm definitely interested in getting some more insight from you, or anybody in chat, anybody that has insight on this type of thing. Please join. Carol says, I have a box for you, but it's either I have the money to ship but no time, or I have the time but no money. I can't seem to get it together. Oh, that's so sweet of you. Well, shit. I do have a place where I can get mail now, so let me know. And depending on how much it is to ship, maybe I can find a couple bucks after I get back from Slabs, of course, because that's where all my money's going right now. All right, folks, we have just barely scratched the surface of colonialism. I feel like I've learned more than I've said. Like, I've learned more than I've taught in this one, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this stream, because like I realized that I am only operating on a limited perspective based on where I come from and the indoctrination and the propaganda. And it's, you know, every day I find out more and more about how much propaganda we've been fed, and it's just shocking. So, yeah, we're definitely going to revisit this topic. And thank you guys so much for your insight and input. I am honestly, like, I don't use this word lightly, but I'm actually truly humbled by some of the things that folks have said in here, and I'm so grateful for y'all. And thank you so much to anybody that donated. If I didn't shout you out, I'll see it after I end the stream. Awesome. Chris Bandit says, please make a video when you're at the Slabs. My reception has been pretty bad when I've been in Slabs. I tried a couple times last time I went through, but I'll try. Yeah, if the reception is good and it's not too hot. If any of you have watched me try to stream in Slabs when I was living there through the summer, you know the challenges of streaming in the summer. It's very, very hot and phones just get cooked. So I'll do my best. I'll see what I can do. If nothing else, I'll bring my GoPro or something. Moses Law says, it's in a book in the making. My sister went in to kick me down over our adoption dad dying. Lots of family drama. Yeah, shit. I'd read that book. All right, folks. Thank you so much. Let's chat again about this type of stuff. I don't know what I'm doing for a topic tomorrow, but if you have any ideas that you'd like to hear me talk about, feel free. There's so many things that we could be talking about and learn about together. Or I can speak from my own personal experience. I definitely want to talk about trans issues and substance abuse issues in the next few days as well. And of course, social issues are always at the forefront of my mind. Carol says, Hugs, try to hop in more. Yes, please do. Yeah, all of you, come on in. Come on in anytime. I'm probably going to change the time slot because we want Captain in here. We love Captain, and I didn't realize that this wasn't a good time slot for him. So we might be changing the time slot. Keep an eye out for that. And I'll see y'all later. Love you guys. Take care.